In this video, I'm sharing 9 low effort ways to upgrade your life before 2025. We've got 10-minute bangers, we've got hyper practical steps that you can take, we've got slightly woo or fuzzy ideas that have a high impact, and we've got dedicated days. These are 1-day turnaround activities that you can do to upgrade your life pre-2025. Let's start with 10-minute bangers. These are things that you can do in 10 minutes that will upgrade your life for 2025. Number 1, write an email or 2 to your future self. You can use websites to do this, like Future Me. Maybe like me, when winter hits, you become cold and miserable. Send yourself a little love note for that point in time. Send yourself little well wishes. Personally, I love a may you statement. I created a whole list of them for my birthday. These sound really simple, but when you are the one that writes them, you pour energy into them. They feel more special to you, and your future self will feel that. Send yourself a reminder of a nostalgic memory. This has been shown to benefit you. A guy called Constantine coined the term nostalgizing. And that's when you think back to a time when someone else helped you to solve a problem, or they stood up for you, or they made your life easier in some way without any benefit really to themselves. They've found that when you think back on memories like these and you really dwell on them and you live in them for a second, you're less stressed, you feel more connected to other people, and you feel more satisfied with where you are in the present. So you're really doing your future self a big favor by sending them a little email for the future that they can wake up to that'll have an immediately positive impact on them. Idea number 2, write a list of 10-minute tasks. So find a goal that's on your vision board or that is on your list of goals that you want to achieve, and then break it down into genuine 10-minute steps that your future self for sure will not feel apprehensive towards doing. This is really good for people who have a bit more chaos in their life but feel like they can sneak in a little 10-minute step here or there. Maybe you have small kids, maybe you're a carer, maybe you just have a lot of work on your plate, whatever your situation is. But if you do have more time freedom, you can just have a day where you're like, you know what, today I'm just gonna get through as many little 10-minute steps as I can, and they're all gonna feel doable because I know that they're only 10 minutes. The next idea is the one woo, slightly fuzzy but still highly impactful idea that you can start doing to upgrade your life before 2025. Start to ask the universe for fresh thought. I will explain. I have always loved the idea of manifestation, but I have always struggled with the idea of an interventionist universe that just steps in and gives people wealth and cars but may not help out that person who's asking for help for their unwell parent. I just struggle to accept the unfairness of that form of manifestation, but I don't have anything against anyone who's into it. But my replacement version of this is asking for fresh thoughts. So not asking for external miracles, but asking for new perspectives on old problems. And every time I do this, it seems to work. I need to do it more. So for those of you who are like me, where you're like, oh, manifestation just doesn't make me feel quite right, this could be a good, helpful alternative for you. I've heard the idea of like a drive-through order for manifestation. So you drive through and you're like, hey, this is what I want. And then you're just sort of waiting for it with complete expectation that it's going to happen. That's kind of the energy that you want to bring to this. And I think even if you don't believe in a higher power or the universe or anything like that, most great problem solvers have acknowledged that their subconscious, their mind does work for them in the background. So you really could just be asking your subconscious for fresh thoughts. Try this for the rest of the year, even if just once a week you sit down and you're like, hey, giving this to you, can't wait for the fresh thoughts. See what happens. See how many problems you can solve just with your beautiful brain before 2025. Now we're talking dedicate a day activities that will upgrade your life before 2025. 1-day turnaround tasks, starting with picking something to learn, then dedicating a day to really diving into it. This is something that you can do with the help of today's sponsor, Skillshare. I recently have been looking at how I want to approach content creation, so I took the course Speak Your Truth, Mindful Content Creation for YouTube by Heinz. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives. It has thousands of classes led by actual experts. On Skillshare, you can level up your productivity with Ali Abdaal's Notion Masterclass. You can learn to draw with Mimi Chow. You can learn how to be more productive with Thomas Frank. There are thousands of classes led by people that you know and you love in things like film, illustration, productivity, Notion, freelance, how to start your Etsy store. Skillshare has a class for everything. You can use it to upgrade your life in your career, in your hobbies, or in your side hustle. The mindful content creation class was perfect for me for where I'm at because it was very much a thoughtful, values-driven class. If you want to start creating content, but you want to do it from a wholesome, pure place, that would be a great class to take. Skillshare has announced some exciting improvements. They have smarter class categories, 3 new class topics, creative careers, creative inspiration, AI and innovation, and now you can find classes by software and material. When you sign up as a new member, you'll be asked to share a little bit about your interests now, and from there, Skillshare immediately will surface classes they think will be a good fit for you. The first 500 people to use my link in the description below will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Get started today. The next dedicated day task, write a self-manual. So a self-manual is a manual that talks about everything that has worked for you in the past when it comes to your happiness, your health, your productivity, your relationships. The cool thing is this is the kind of thing that can be passed down to your kids and your grandkids. Because you come from the same line, reflecting on your past experiences and what has worked for you also can sometimes be more helpful than getting advice from experts. For example, in one study, they told one group about some expert financial strategies, but with another group, they asked them to reflect on what had worked for them in the past when it came to saving money. And the group that was reminded of their own strategies for saving money spent $230 less than they usually would, whereas the group told about these expert financial strategies saved only $50 in the next month. And I think a lot of it is about whether you believe a strategy will work for you, because it's one thing to get advice, it's another to really believe like, yeah, that'll work for my brain. So to write your self-manual, just ask yourself what works for me or what has worked for me when it comes to productivity, when it comes to relationships. This could be a 1-page document or a 10-page document or a 100-page document. It's up to you. You can read it once a week or once a year, or it could be a working document that you always are updating. So this is an idea that I have not done, but I want to do prior to 2025. For me, this will probably be a dedicated day situation, but it can totally be like a 1-pager that you do in an hour. The next dedicated day task is vision board days. First, create your vision board, and I have a few videos that you can use for inspiration if you're not sure where to start. Then pick a certain day when you do stuff to move yourself towards that vision. Do that up until the end of the quarter, the end of the year, depending on when you're watching this video. And this could be just about setting up your environment so that it's easier for you to bring that vision board to life. It could be about brainstorming 10-minute quick ticks. It could be that you're researching, but give yourself a limit on the research. If you have a bit of time freedom, try to turn one day, one afternoon, or even just 1 hour into vision board time. The next dedicated day task, map out the systems that don't work. So I read a book recently that really hammered in this simple advice that for some reason clicked for me. So I'm going to share it with you too as a way to potentially upgrade your own life. Look at the areas of your life that are not working and find the bug in the system instead of finding the bug in yourself. So for example, you're trying to build the next cool polymer clay Etsy shop, but for some reason it isn't working or you can't stick to it. It's really common in those situations to start to ask yourself, what's wrong with me? Why is this not working for me? Instead, start asking, what is the bug in the system? For example, maybe you've wanted to wake up earlier for years. It's just not happening. Map out what your system is for waking up earlier. And your system includes the thoughts and feelings that appear in your body. This is what's often missed out when it comes to systems. For example, the current system could be, you wake up, immediately a thought in your head appears and it's go back to sleep. You listen to that thought, you go back to sleep. That inner experience, that inner thought of go back to sleep, that's part of the system that currently exists. If you want to get a new result, you need to reduce the chance of that part of the system coming into play, or you need to change how you respond to that inner experience. If you keep letting the same system play out as it's always played out, you will continue to get the same results. So if you want to upgrade your life before 2025, pick an area of your life that's not working out and map out the existing system. You might be like, I don't have a system. You do. Everything has a system. It just may not be intentional. And include the thoughts and feelings that exist in that system because they are part of the system. Then think about tweaks that you can make. Stop focusing on yourself, start focusing on the systems. Now let's talk about the hyper practical things that you can do to upgrade your life before 2025. These are a little bit more like, yep, just do it. Starting with, get a phone box. I love my phone box. It's had a glow up effect on my life. I talked about it in my 6 little ways to make your afternoons better video, because even when I don't want to go on my phone, like no part of me is like, yes, you know what I want to do, scroll on TikTok for 2 hours. Even still, there's like this little almost muscle memory itch where I'm like, I just have to pick up my phone and check, which is when I love putting my phone in a lockbox. I also used to have a much less intense version of this. It was a little wooden box. It didn't quite do it like this does because I can see my screen in case of emergencies, but it still did the job. As soon as you start locking your phone up in phone jail every night, your life will just glow up a little. It's one of those really easy environmental changes that can just make a huge difference. So why not do it before 2025? And the last hyper practical step that you can take to upgrade your life before 2025 is to do a color analysis. You can do this for free on ChatGPT. Obviously, it's not the same as going in person, but it's not going to cost you a few $100s as well, which is good. I'll have a link to a YouTube video down below with instructions. I'm sure I'll be able to find one, but basically you chuck in a photo of your face, you ask ChatGPT to analyze it and give you your best colors. It'll tell you what season you are. It'll give you a full little palette to work with. You can start to take that palette out when you go shopping and upgrade your wardrobe so that it suits your skin tone, your vibes for the rest of your life. If you want more ideas on how to upgrade your life before 2025, I have a whole playlist on this. It's very much designed to get you inspired, to get you motivated, to give you ideas, thoughts. I'm gonna have it linked on the screen as well as down below. I appreciate you so much, and I'll see you soon.